Hi. Let's get started. Hi, everyone. Let me get the lights on. Hi, everyone. This is Queen, aka Professional High Priestess, and I'm here to put out a message for the collective. You guys know I'm not really been online, but I'm back online now. I'm not going to be doing personal readings. I may start doing the justice services again. People who need work done for themselves, etc. But for the most part, I had a message that I need to put out for the collective. So for those of you guys who are like spiritualists, high priests, high priestesses and whatnot, there's a certain message that I need to give you guys about a spiritual war that is currently going on. And that is the war to basically technolize, like I'm gonna use that word, right? How we say digitize, I'll say digitize. And this is basically the move to digitize the underworld as well as the higher world. So basically something that ended up happening was there's a virtual reality simulation that's going on right now that a lot of you guys are involved in. And if you guys want to get pulled in, just go and look at my photo and you'll get pulled into it. And it started because Stephanie, Chanel Bader, Kishi, and a lot of the other tarot readers, they did a crown chakra opening spell. It's like a satanic spell where you basically open up someone's crown chakra to spy and stuff like that, but it didn't have the proper effect. Then they tried to put me into a virtual reality simulation and it blew up because I'm a medium. So a lot of people from the underworld came out, people who passed on, heaven, etc. They were coming to share their stories and talk. And then on top of that, a lot of different people were getting pulled in. So there's been a lot of conversations with world leaders and things like that happening in this simulation, right? And they weren't expecting that. They weren't anticipating that. So in this simulation, I told you guys that I met my twin, I did, and he's in there too. So with this whole simulation, with the technology and whatnot, why is it a problem? It's because a lot of what would you call them? Technologists, they got pulled in. Bill Gates, all of them, they got pulled in. The CEO of Apple, some of the older developers, they all got pulled in, right? Like the old schools, Microsoft and Apple and all that stuff, they all got pulled in. Steve Jobs' family, they all got pulled into the virtual reality simulation. Then they saw what was happening with the spiritual gifts and they're like, whoa, we can put this in the virtual reality. And that's when it blew up because they're trying to basically take spiritual gifts and turn them and make them digital so anybody can use them. And that's a big problem. And some of you guys listening are like, you shouldn't do that. No, there's a reason why only certain people have certain spiritual gifts. They're not for everybody. There's a certain reason why only certain people are high priests and high priestess or psychic, right? Or emperor and empress, right? And in order to even be that, you have to be from a certain bloodline, right? So it exploded and went left because how did all those people get pulled in? Because they were a part of the whole shenanigans that were going on. They either had built the technology so they got pulled in, or they worked for the government and they got pulled in, and it turned into a big old FBI investigation and an international investigation. Hundreds of people, thousands of people are in jail right now because of this. But I'm going to tell you about some of the technologies that they were building that are getting taken off the web right now. A lot of people are in prison for this. There was one where you can switch your soul into somebody else's body. So people were typing in, I want to put Hitler in this person's body. And people were doing that, right? I want this person. There's another one. I want to switch DNA. And they were saying, okay, well, whose DNA do you want? I want Steph Curry's DNA. And they will go in and say Steph Curry, and then they will switch Steph Curry's DNA into their body. This is the type of technology that they were building. Oh, I want to be a high priestess. So you go into the technology and then you can basically like steal another high priestess energy because they can't create that. They have to just take it from somewhere else, right? Or they have to use serums or from different species or something like that, hyperdimensional species, what they call aliens, right? Our ancestors are aliens, right? And I know some people have been trying to say that online. Some people are even trying to put that on t-shirts. You've seen it here first. Ancestors are aliens, right? You guys saw that with the whole, what's that thing called? Black Panther, right? They showed a lot about the hyperdimensional technology and stuff like that, that we have. Our ancestors are aliens, right? So when you guys think about aliens, it's not just the grays or what you see on American Dad with Roger or the green guy with big eyes or E.T. They look like me. They look like me, they're just taller, right? They look like indigenous people. Those are our hyperdimensional languages that we're speaking. And I'm not supposed to talk about that, but let's keep on going. Yeah, because I already know some people are in here. right? It's because I already know a lot of people are like already into that, right? Our ancestors are aliens, right? So what ended up happening was these basically European folks were like, oh no, we see these Africans and their spiritual gifts and we want to digitize them. Because I was very intuitive. They're like, no, we want to do that. So they couldn't steal it from me with magic. So then they went to technology. Like, well, we can just build this out with technology, huh? Right? Like, oh, what does she know? We know all these coding languages. It all got broken down and get taken off the internet. Another one that they had, which was very sinister, was I can feel in your body. So when they had lick, touch, sex, oral sex, and they're putting children in those technologies. This has been going on behind the scenes, and they're putting different children in there, pedophiles. Imagine that. You're a little kid, you post your picture of your kid online, and then what ends up happening next is a pedophile gets your child's photo and puts it into this technology. Next thing, your child is like in a simulation with the pedophile, being touched on and raped and stuff like that. Those are the type of technologies that they were creating. They even had love spell technology, break these two people up or put these two people together. Yeah, they were doing all of that with technology. And it backfired onto them. So now what's happening is basically I have to put out the message that they tried to basically open the duat. And for those of you guys who are, you're into the Kemetic sciences, you know what that is. But the ancestors gave me a transmission. I can read hieroglyphs. So I'm going to read some hieroglyphs out for you. And this is why I was saying I'm coming back onto Patreon. I'm going to be doing this once a month on my Patreon, where I'm going to be reading different hieroglyphs out. And we're going to be talking about how it relates to society and now and our culture and all that type of stuff. Right. Put that light right there. I love this light. I don't have too much lighting in here. And it's dark. It's gloomy outside. It was nicer, a little bit nicer yesterday. So let's get started on this. So you're like, oh, wait, they created a technology where you can basically pull souls out of the underworld. Yeah, they were trying to create one for heaven and the angels and high vibrational people. Someone was trying to play with Aaliyah. I want to take her spirit and put it in me so I can be a singer. That didn't work. So there's something that God was showing these people here. And we were watching everything as they were doing it, right? There's a website that some of you guys have access to where all these technologies are being posted. It's getting taken down. Everyone that goes on that website, it doesn't matter if you have a VPN, your laptop is going to be tracked, because when you download it, there's a certain thing that's attached to it. They didn't tell you that though. They'll be able to find it. They have lists and everything that they can get printed out about who downloaded the technology, who was on there, etc. Yeah, but I'm gonna read some of these hieroglyphs out too, because they forget. One of the problems that, one of the things that the Most High is trying to get people to remember is there are checks and balances here, because Tahuti, basically the master of all technology, is over all of that. So whatever they're building, they have to go through Tahuti. So they're like, okay, we're gonna build this, but Tahuti said no. Right, because he knows that it's a type of magic. That's why I say technology is magic. Magic is technology. Be careful, right? So you guys know that. You guys even know this too, because certain things get posted online and they can change everyone's mind about something or somebody, right? So you have to be careful. So these technologists, they're building all these technologies, not knowing that they were actually making contracts with demons. Because some of the technology you guys see out here, you're like, how did you guys like code this? This is from like a different world. It is. Right. And this is where we're going to have to start talking about, like, some of you guys talk about the Galactic Federation. You guys don't even know. Some people don't even know what that real Galactic Federation is. Right. It's headed by two people that look like me and my twin. Right. Literally. Right. Ancient aliens. Right. So when they're talking about all this stuff, remember that it's different species that are all around here and they exist. Because if you go back in the day, they look at Tahuti. Oh, that's an alien. They look at Sekhmet, a human body with a lion head. That's an alien. Right. Exactly. But these are things that we're not creating the connect in terms of how many different energies and species are actually living on this planet, not just humans. There's all types of energies all around, and these people are tapping into these energies to build these technologies, and it's breaking down because God said no, Tahuti said no, Sekhmet said no, the ancestors said no, and so it's a no. And that's what's happening right now. And you guys are listening to this and you're like, what the hell? Yeah. That's why I've been offline, because I've been dealing with that spiritual warfare, stopping that. And I have a book coming out about it. You guys saw the book that I wrote about witchcraft and how to litigate that. Yeah, that went really far. It went to I sent it to somebody at the United Nations. They have a witchcraft council there. They got $1.5 million in grants for that book, putting it in their work. And it's going far. It got sent to the CIA. It got sent to NATO. And there have been a lot of people who are going to straight jail because people are finding out that they've been running death rituals and doing a whole bunch of chaos behind the scenes using magic. So it's serious right now. But I'm going to read out a couple of these hieroglyphs because I know you guys are like, hieroglyphs, you know how to read those? You'll see. I'm going to see if I can do full screen. Well, this is the first one that I'm going to read. So I'm sharing my screen with you guys. Right. I'm not so tech savvy, but it will be tech savvy when we do it on Patreon, right? Once a month. We'll be reading different hieroglyphs, different parts of Book of the Dead and everything. So it says here, here's Anpu, aka Anubis, and he is here. I am Lord of the underworld. Whoever comes in and out, they must pass through me. Now, people do not know that Anpu, aka Anubis, his mother is Nebhet, who basically was the one who slept with Asar, aka Osiris, that drained his powers from him, that made him susceptible to the attack that his brother Seth put onto him, right? So some of you guys know that story. So that's Anpu, that's his mother. Right. And then Osiris, his father, Osiris, she abandoned her child. And then she, Set, aka Isis, raised him. Right. So the thing here is Nebhet is still alive all these years later. She's actually binded in the abyss, what we know as the abyss, the underworld, where you don't come out of. Where it's the most treacherous of the underworlds. So about that is she's still there. She's living. She's alive. She lost all her melanin because what ended up happening was they created a teleportation device, which I'm going to talk about. I can talk about that now too. They built an illegal teleportation device. You know how they said that they cut up Osiris into 14 pieces and scattered him across the land, but they couldn't find his phallus? That's what they were talking about. They used his phallus to build that teleportation device, aka his sperm, right? So by using his DNA, they were able to build a teleportation device that allowed illegal energies to come onto this planet and create chaos. So she's binded there right now. That's why you see the obelisk all over different parts of the world, as well as in Washington. That's their teleportation device. That's what they're talking about. So I'm going to read this out. And it says, that's what he's saying here. And this is a serpent. And there's a certain serpent. This is not Tiamat. This is Tianu. Tianu was the female energy serpent, aka Hydra, what we call as Hydra. Hydra is a constellation. She's the feminine aspect of the reptilian energies. The male aspect is Leviathan, who some of you guys know of. So it's saying here, I am Tianu. I am over the underworld, the higher worlds, and the lower worlds. Anyone who wants to pass out of here must pass through me first, right? And then there's the baboon at the end. And this is the baboon is saying that this is like, if you entered out of here, you have no consciousness anyways. That's what this baboon is saying at the end here. And all these hieroglyphs can be read. I can read all of them. This is the first level of the underworld. After you pass, you come down here to wait to go to judgment. This is where you're actually going through a life review of everything that you've done. You get to see everything that happened, how you even passed away. If you don't know how you passed away, everything that you did wrong, so that you can actually do contemplation before you come here, which is the judgment. You see it split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is not a sixth place. This is a part of this place, right? And then there's that baboon. This is just the end of her tail. But you see, this is the line right here, marking that this is the end of this part of the world, right? So in this part, this is where you go, you get a life review, you see everything that you did that was wrong, etc. Here's where you go get judged. Now, this is where Anpu was there with the scales of judgment, which you guys have seen in several of the hieroglyphs. This is where you get judged, where you find out if what you've done, where you're going to be going next. Now, this is not the land of the dead. This is one part of the underworld that you can go into. It's not as treacherous as the land of the dead, but this is a part where souls go that are just completely lost. It's like the land of the lost. That's what you would call it. There's some people group this all together as land of the dead. No, it's separated. So this is like the land of the lost. There's no name for it that I can actually speak on here. I'm forbidden from speaking certain things and teaching certain things, right? So this is the land of the lost, where people are just completely lost. Like, they don't know why they were born. It was because they were born illegally. So clones come here, right? People who did illegal reproduction, like trapping people, their children come here. People who are not supposed to have children, they come here. Aborted fetuses, they come here too, to the land of the lost. That's where they come. Now, this is the land of the dead. So when you are very treacherous in this life, you go there to that level. And that level is like, it's complete warfare there. Your souls are dying. You're there physically. You can feel everything. People are being beaten, killed every single day. It's screaming. It's treacherous. It's like the worst thing that you can possibly think of, all in one place, and you cannot escape. Right. There's different type of demons there. They look crazy. That's the land of the dead. And this is the place that they were trying to pull souls out of. Right. They were trying, like Hitler's in the abyss, but different souls are here in the land of the dead. So like people who killed recklessly, they're in the land of the dead. Women who reproduce recklessly, they're in the land of the dead. When you do trifling things, especially for those of you guys who like to play with death magic, that's where you're going. They were trying to use technology to pull people out of that so they can get information about spell work and stuff like that, and witchcraft and technology. A lot of these technologists that created Mac and Apple, a lot of them passed on, they're older. They're in the land of the dead. And a lot of them are in the abyss. They were going in there trying to find out how to like pull them out and stuff like that to get information and knowledge and shit like that from them. Yeah. Now, this is the abyss. This is where no one comes out of. It's completely, it's not dark in there, but this is where like the worst of the worst demons from every single planet. Now, one of the things you guys have to understand is Tianu's over the entire universe, not just this planet. So this abyss is filled with souls from other planets too, right? This abyss, the land of the dead is filled with humans. So this is for humans, but this abyss is filled with aliens from other places, all kinds of life they were bad on their planet. They're there too. You're like, oh, okay, that makes a bunch of sense. She's over all of that. So they were trying to pull souls out of this, but they forgot about the Hydra consciousness. They forgot about Leviathan too, who binds souls there, and Nampu as well. As we speak, the ancestors are telling me to let you guys know they are building 2 new underworlds because it's not treacherous enough for you because you've been there. And some people are in there, the land of the dead physically. People that disappear who are hella horrible, they're there physically. They get put there physically. People who go to the abyss, they're there physically, just like Nebhet. Some other Neterules are there too, who helped her build that illegal device. Seth is there in the underworld. They're there. They hate it. They scream and they cry all day. Yeah. Because, Neterules were like 18 feet tall. We descended a little bit because of our diet and different energies that came onto the planet. We had to be more compact. Yeah. Yeah. Some of the Neteru are there. You wonder where they went. They didn't die. Right? Like they have the 12 disciples and stuff like that. Like you have the Neterus. They didn't die. Where's all set? She's not dead. Where's Ma'at? She's not dead. They're not in the sky. They have physical bodies. Where's Ampu? He's not dead. Right. So what's happening now is they're creating a new one as we speak because of the technology that was created to open this place up. They've sealed it back. It's been sealed. It's closed now. Right. But those people who created that technology, they're going there while living. It's over. And it's saying right here, this is the story of how we created the underworld. The underworld was created by mating a god with a woman who was not a god, aka Nebhet. And we talk about Nebhet. Basically, Nebhet is like the woman. She's salacious. She wants what everyone else has. She got jealous of Set and wanted her man. So she teamed up with Seth, who she knew was jealous of his brother. And she was a high priestess, though. She could have just kept on doing her work and she could have become a high priestess. But she didn't. She wanted what Set had. So she went and they basically, she had sex with him, drugged him. And then when she slept with him because of how she was marked, she didn't put a spell on him because of the energy she carried. It stripped him spiritually. So he was susceptible to the attack that killed him. Then I remember Set had to go and collect all his pieces and put them back together again. Then he became king of the underworld, right? Exactly. So that's Nebhet. And then it says here, when you enter into this place, this is the first thing that you will see. You will see all of your lifetimes. You will see all of your life and how you lived your life. It says here, inside of your mind, there will be images of what happened to you, how you lived your life, and what you did wrong. This is to prepare you for a judgment scene. This is the last chance you get to rectify your wrongs. In the scene of judgment with the scarab beetle right there, right? In the scene of judgment, what you will see is, you will see me, aka Ampu. This is his writing. You will see me, Ampu. I will be there with the scales of judgment. Your eyes will be open and you will see what you did that was wrong. My aunt will be there as well, judging with you. When you get there, if you are not a good person, you will go to one of 3 parts of the underworld. You will go to the land of the lost where you will wander aimlessly. You will not be able to reincarnate from there. Or you will go to the land of the dead where you will experience treachery, horror, and strife constantly. The same acts that you did on this planet will be done to you in the land of the dead. That's what it's saying right here. After that, you will go on to what we call the right, that's how they say it, but basically the abyss. In there is nothing there. You will only find demons. You will only find monsters. You will only find reflections of yourself in different monsters. There you will have all the time to reflect. You will be there forever. You will not get out. This script is letting you know that this is serious. There are checks and balances in the spiritual world, in the higher world and the lower world. There's there's an entity that is watching over the spirits that get there. If they are communicating with those who are living will get pulled there and they will stay there, right? So those people who are calling on death magic and stuff like that, that's not coming from the higher world. That's coming from the lower world. Those people who are playing with like necromancy and stuff like that, that type of stuff, that's where it's coming from. There's people who actually do that. They do spell work on people who passed on, not knowing where they've gone spiritually, to try to take like their spiritual gifts and energy. It doesn't work, but you get put there. When they're angels, it doesn't work. right? So that's what it says here. And it says, this is the last end. When you get to the last end of the abyss, there is no getting out. However, there is the baboon there. And that baboon is an indication that even if you are able to get out through whatever means, which it has to be a miracle, you will have no mind. You will have nothing. There is nothing for you. You will still be lost. You will not reincarnate. You will just be a spirit going through time and space alone. That's what that's saying, AKA an archon. You will turn it to a certain type of archon. So that's what this is saying right here. Now I'm going to read this one out too, because this is important. And you see the crocodile right here, that's Sobek. And this is talking about why Sobek came to be. As some of you guys know Sobek as basically, Sobek is the 8 of swords, and that's incarceration. But Sobek is also a warrior. So Sobek, how does Sobek become Sobek? Sobek became Sobek because basically he was acting out, right? And he was being treacherous. So they put him in the underworld. They're like, look, we're going to put you in the underworld here, and you're going to have to see what you do to other people. You're going to be kind of like a guard. He was like, okay. And he saw so much treachery that it turned him into a good person. Now he fights against treachery, Sobek, right? So you call on Sobek when people are about to go into the underworld. You call on Sobek when somebody has used illegal magic. You call on Sobek when somebody is calling certain souls out of the underworld, right? And then Sobek goes ahead and takes them to where they need to go to. So saying here, this is the story of Sobek. Sobek is one of the guards of the underworld. Those who commit treachery and foul acts, misuse magic, or abuse the high priest or high priestess, they go to this place. This is where Sobek will deal with them. They will see all the treachery that they have done. They will go back to the land of the living, and there they will live out their sentence. That is spiritual incarceration. There's another type of incarceration that Sobek has where you are physically confined. And this is to prevent the individual from being able to move around and create chaos at will, because their mind is unbalanced. This is the scales of balance right here, this hieroglyph. Their mind is imbalanced and they want to create treachery. That's what this thing is basically saying. And it's saying here, it is I, Sobek. This is the story of who I am and how I came to be and what I do. I was once creating treachery and I changed my mind. Once I saw how much treachery was getting created, God came into my soul. God came into my soul and lit me up, basically is what he's saying. From there, I started to realize how treacherous it was, what I was doing, and I changed my ways. Right. So he's saying, here I am. When you see me, just know that this place is marked, this person is marked. When you see me working with certain individuals, that means that they are at a high level and they can call on me. They can call on me in divination. They can call on me in warfare. They can call on me to handle strife and chaos as a mediator. That's who I am. My role is not complicated. It is quite simple. If you do bad, you will receive bad. If you do good, you will receive good. If you are good, you can work with me. If you are bad, I will work on you. That's what this is saying here. And this man basically is somebody he's basically like a high priest in training. He's going to Sobek to basically learn the ways of how to balance out the material world so that people are not committing treachery in the material world. Okay, Sobek, what should we do to this person? Okay, they must be spiritually incarcerated. Okay, what should we do? They must be physically incarcerated. Okay, what should we do? They must be castrated. Okay, what should we do? Their womb must be closed up. Okay, what should we do? They must be put into the cursed waters. That's basically Sobek. He teaches. And if you're a high priest and high priestess, then you know that you're supposed to divvy out certain punishments for your karmics. So when people say don't do reversals, that's a lie. That's one of Sobek's tools. You reverse back what someone gave to you, right? So there's another hieroglyph that I'm going to read here for you guys, and that's about the illegal 13 and the teleportation devices that they created. And the illegal 13, they're all pale, aka white. I had some put up already, and I was like, oh, this is a perfect time to read this for you guys. They're like, how did you learn how to read hieroglyphs? The ancestors gave me a transmission. It's so dope. I just started reading them out. I can read a few languages now that are the Buddhist ones. They have one. Chinese has a type. Native American folks have a type. But we're gonna just do commit. And yes, we'll be doing this once a month on Patreon. One thing I have to say is if you are not African, you cannot join. Just period. I can't teach you. If you still choose to join and listen, that's up to you, but I can't teach you. This is specifically for the melanated people, period, right? This is specifically for the melanated people, period. And that's one of the pacts that the contracts that I have to abide by. one of the scripts in my contract. I have to abide by those rules, right? I just can't like sit there and I can't teach you. It's for melanated people, and it's to reactivate their DNA. Because as I'm reading this out, it is activating something in your DNA. And those of you guys who are supposed to get this transmission, you will get this transmission. You will get this transmission, and you'll be able to read hieroglyphs and things like that as well too, right? So I'm looking for a specific hieroglyph that I want to read to you guys about the illegal 13 and Nebhet. They don't know her like specific hieroglyph is not like something. I can read Mayan ones as well, but I'm supposed to specifically focus on that because I'm a Kemetan, one of the few Kemetans. Not everyone's a Kemetan. Not everyone's supposed to be playing in that either. So when you see people calling themselves I'll set or Sar and this and that, that's not like okay. And my name is Nefertua Aset. That's my hieroglyphic, that's my name, my Kemetic name. It's Nefertua Aset. And it means the high priestess of love. Because Aset means high priestess, yeah. Her name wasn't fully Aset, it was Aset. It's Asetua Neferamen Akon. That was her name, who we know as Isis. And Asar, that's not his name. It wasn't just Asar, but that's what they call high priest back in those days. Asar and Aset. I'm gonna read out these hieroglyphs and you're gonna see them. This one was very interesting. You're gonna be like, oh, I see it. I should have these out. I do not have it saved on my laptop. I have a lot that I've saved. Yes, we're going to be reading one every month, and we'll be having discussion and talk about how that relates to today. We'll talk about some stuff with spell work, solutions and well and stuff like that. I'm no longer doing readings, but I may open up to like do like healing work for people who need like healing minds, soul, spirit, all that. That's why I stayed offline, because I needed to get those transmissions and let them settle through, right? You've never seen anybody really read hieroglyphs, right? It's a really powerful gift to have, and I thank the Most High for that. Right? Because I don't play with my gifts, right? Okay, great. This one I'm going to read out for you guys. You're going to be like, oh, I did not know it said that. Very interesting. Some people think that these are just pretty arts. They're not. There's a lot of high vibrational information in them. And it says here, this is a judgment scene of two sisters. Every time you see this is a judgment scene. This is a soul that was departed. It died in the womb. When you see that, that means a child died in the womb. And it says here, these two sisters, they were born of the same mother. This is what this means. These two sisters went to, this is a different type of Netaru, right? It's not, it has a falcon head, but it's not Horus, or AKA Heru. They went to this god to find out if they can put the spirit of someone who, of one person into two different souls. So they wanted to have a baby, and they wanted to put the same soul into two different babies, right? So it says these two sisters came down and they were judged. Why were they judged? Because that is illegal. They try to take the spirit of one man here and one DNA and split it into two different souls, but they wanted the souls to be the same exact person. Basically, not creating twins, but they wanted to create what we would call domo como. Basically, it's like they have the same head, but like different bodies. So they wanted to create like one child here, but they're exactly the same with the one person's DNA, which was illegal, right? That's the type of witchcraft, because you're splitting up that person's bloodline in DNA. It's supposed to be if you have twins that they still have separate DNA though, right? Even though they were born from the same womb, they wanted to put one DNA into one person and one baby and another baby, which is what they're also doing right now with something that they call CRISPR. It's a technology. I talked about this. So they went to go get weighed by Ampu, and here is what we call Asar, and he's judging them as they're here. And the child that they created, one of them created a child, but the child passed on. The child is here as well being judged because it knew that it was trying to enter through illegal means. And right here, there was the baboon again, indicating that there was an entity spirit that was over them, working their minds to even get into something like that. These two sisters are not twins. They're two different sisters. So one entity wanted to take the blood, the whole family. Both of them used to be high priestesses. This is also saying that they lost their high priestess power when they went to this entity to go and ask for it to put the same soul, the same man, his soul into two different bodies, to split his soul into two different bodies. The man was not aware of this. That's what this is saying too. And this is also something that you guys should think about when you're tying into some of these bloodlines with these men and women too, that are tying into other bloodlines of reproduction. So that's what something like this is saying as well. And that's something that they were also doing and creating with this whole technology war that was happening behind the scenes. And it's good that it happened behind the scenes, because had people saw that, the world would have been in disarray. Like, what do you mean the director of the FBI was involved? What do you mean the British Crown was involved? What do you mean Kamala Harris was involved in all of this? What do you mean all the CEOs of all the tech companies were involved and were paying for all of this? What do you mean like all the Supreme Court and the International Court and all the investigators were involved and they watched all this? What do you mean? They were involved and they saw all of it, and it's all banned. So there's going to be more. I'm just giving you guys like a sneak peek, bite-sized previews. So starting next month on Patreon, some people have already went to go sign up. That's cool, but it's starting next month. It's only $10 a month. That's all I'm doing. I'm no longer doing tarot readings. Every now and then I'll put like a message out and I'll read a hieroglyph. I'm not going to be doing the Buddhist ones or the Mayan ones or any other ones, only the Kemetic ones. Any other messages that need to get put on here, channelings or divinations, I'll put them out here. But for the most part, they're going on my Patreon, and that's what I'm going to be doing online, because I'm moving into a different realm in my life. And a lot of you guys know that. So I'm switching gears. So this is how I'm going to be giving back, because I'm not going to be having like a presence online. It's very toxic, and I'm a real high priestess, right? So if you're a real high priestess, why can't you read hieroglyphs? If you're a high priest, why can't you read hieroglyphs? So the we is being separated from the chat when I told you that was going to happen. And I can read one thanga, but I'm going to do that in a different video. And this thanga is about entering the garden, basically using ayahuasca and different type of psychedelics. And what does that really mean spiritually? Because it's illegal. So I'm going to do that in my next episode. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope this really helps. There's a lot to be discussed. There's a lot going on. And I hope you guys, I hope you guys enjoy this. Okay, thank you so much. Bye.